And we're live. Take it away.
All right, so you guys are just entering the the sandwich place. But before I get started with the narration, the apparatus needs to do a birth roll.
Right now. So I'm gonna roll this birth roll right now. And that is a 9, so that is a hit. So that means you asked me one question.
Why are you no longer with your creators?
That's an interesting question. Maybe I'll answer that during the session. How about that? Give me some time to think about that.
Well, you have to answer that question, so up to you. But yeah,
right.
So
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, think about it. So I know. So you guys are just entering the Lothar's sandwich place, and like we see last session, it's the table has been turned down. There's a fire that started in the kitchen. There's broken glass shattered on the ground, some blood, as well splattered on some of the wall. All the food has been emptied out, and Lothar is on the corner, one of the corner of the dinner place, where on the opposite side of his counter, and he's lying on the ground in one of the corner.
He doesn't look good.
He looks great, just immobile.
Yeah. He'll probably come back. We've had this happen a couple times. But this gives me ample time to wonder, why the hell am I not with my creators?
Why are you not with your creators?
Oh, there he is. Okay, go ahead.
Am I back?
You're back, Lothar, but that was a great impression of somebody just lying there.
All right, so he's sitting on the wall in one of the corner. His face is beat up. His face is punched in. Yeah, he's missing a couple of teeth in his mouth. His nose is broken. He's coughing some blood on his shirt, and he has one of his eye that has been punched in. So he's just when it's too big and it's closed in purple. Yeah. I don't know how you guys call that. But anyway, so he's black. Yeah, he has dramatic black eye right there, and he's coughing on the corners.
I'll step in, help him up, and I am very curious about in what condition he is. Like, he may have serious internal injuries from his ribs being beaten. He's definitely not a healthy man anyway. And having recently gotten bad news from the doctor, apparently my grim news from the doctor chased our MC away.
Well,
so why are you? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, that's good.
So I left you, and I'm back.
Okay, that was nice and fast. I was just saying that I was going to invoke the takes one to know one move. Cadmus has spent a long time in and among doctors, and he's got a growing sensitivity to the pulse of electrical energy in the body, and he's wondering just how, in what condition Lothar actually is.
All right. What's your state right now? How do you feel?
Well, to be honest, I'm mad. The idea is that having had this bomb dropped on him, and then going through the high of ripping off the gun dealers, and having that momentary feeling of power and control, and then coming back here to discover that something has happened to basically what's a harmless old man who just sells sandwiches has tipped the balance and triggered the the main parts of his character, the reason why he would work as a security guard in the first place. He likes to help and protect people. Because after all, good people help others.
So they say role plus symptom, right? So what? So the role is, I guess, the state.
I currently have 2 symptoms. Yeah.
So it's so you roll plus 2 plus mad.
Yeah.
I would say that. I'm not sure if the move needs a state, but I do think they need. So I think so.
In this one, it doesn't talk about symptoms. It just talks about it's just a move. So I don't think the symptoms apply. I think that's just for like trigger or reach out or things like that. But
yeah,
it's up to you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll roll the dice anyway. And I get a 10 without modifiers.
All right. Well,
That is +1, so it's at least an 11.
Oh yeah, you get it all. You get it all. So I'm listening to you.
All right. So as I lean down over Lothar, I help him get into a more comfortable position up onto a bar stool. I'm listening very carefully to his breathing. And just for a moment, allow myself to sense the life in him.
Yes, and he's obviously alive. Just pretty beat up. Yeah, and he will live. He will live.
All right. But is he dying is the question.
And the question is not. He is not dying.
So no cancer in his lungs then.
Oh well. Oh, that's a good. Yeah, no, I would say no. I would say he's not dying and he has no cancer in his lung.
All right then. So I'll make him comfortable and then step back because this is Tessa's friend and she's probably overwhelmed with emotion as any good human would be. And I shoot her a look.
Yeah, I run in after Cadmus as helped my friend up, and it's like, my God, Lothar, what happened?
he's kind of helping himself up, and he sits on a chair in one of those chairs that was turned over and everything. He says, "Just thanks guys. I'm so happy to see you. I just
I'll get him a rag from the kitchen."
Blood. and he's like, oh well, just after you guys left, it's just crazy. Just after you guys left, oh my God, did you got some eggs for me? Did you got some of the stuff I asked? Could you have my smokes? Yeah, I just really need a smoke right now.
Oh God,
light me up, please, light me up.
So I just yank out one of my Chesterfields because I had forgotten to get this man his smokes and all the excitement we just had. So
he's trying to put a smoke in between his lips, and the smoke is shaky because his mouth is shaking from the nerves and everything, and the smoke falls on the ground, and he's fall back and bend over and put it back, and then trying to light up the Zippo, and then take a long. And as the blue smoke come out, he's like spitting one last time on the ground. He says, "Yeah, well, just after you guys left, there was these 3 guys in one of the corners, looking at their thing on the. They seem pretty tough. Remember, like they seem pretty serious dudes. I've seen some of these dudes walk in the crowds from time to time. I've never never noticed, how serious they were. And then after a couple seconds, there's a bunch of cups that came in. Just a bunch of cups, probably about half a dozen of them cups that just came in, and then they got, they got around them, and they started yelling at them and everything. And some of them they grabbed the other guy's stuff, and they confiscated it, and then one of these guys put a little device on the ground, and there's a holographic figure that appeared and they called him W, and he looked like a this young, maybe 14-year-old, really tall and skinny holographic figure. But it was just a young man, really skinny. He has a arm in his seems like a letter perfecto. He was always wearing a arm like it's just out like that, and it was really aristocratic figure. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't figure out too much because the other cups came in my face and I was not able to see. But he seems, I didn't see his face because he has this seems like a big glasses, big like sunglasses, but they were not. They were like a virtual reality mask or something. The visors, but everything he was saying appeared as written. It was just like a written sentence, like that was going on in his eyes, but the lips were not moving. But I was hearing his voice, and oh man! And after a while, they called the other one traitors, and they said they need to punish them and all that. And he also mentioned, and he was always talking. In what I remember, he was like a childish, almost like a pre-pubert voice, and he was talking like he was saying like and while we are at it, fellas, turn this place apart because this man here has been feeding these traitors, and he probably works with the resistance. So turn this place apart before and punish him too, but leave him alive because I want him to tell everyone that we are not to be fucked with. And then we are there to be taken seriously and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly, but they turned up the holographic thing. And then they took the guy away, the three of the guys away with their thing, and then they smash up my place and then they beat the shit out of me. And it happened so fast, I don't remember. But they were cops. That I remember. They had the cops suit on them. I just don't know. My head hurt. Can you give me some water or something? I was like,
yeah, sure. And I go over to the some of the only glasses left in the place. And we're not going to have water. I grab this bottle of cheap booze that we bought over there with a nice label, and pour a couple of glasses, probably a little bit too big for the two of us, and just throw one down in front of Lothar. And I light up a cigarette myself and drink one, and just took a little sad, a little puzzled.
While they're drinking, I'm going to move around and look at all the destruction, looking for evidence of any kind, picking things up. He said they threw a holographic projector on the ground. Maybe something fell out of a pocket, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so that would be probe. No, that would be no. I'm looking at the right.
Analyze.
Yeah, there you go. Analyze. Yeah. What is your state right now?
Still mad. There's nothing that I have heard here that would calm me down. The police are supposed to watch over the people. Not watch the people.
All right.
9 + 1 is 10.
So you get to ask 3 questions.
3 questions.
Plus you have a free one, isn't it? Because you're looking for pattern.
Right.
But I don't know if it's pattern recognition that you're using here though. But it's up to you. I don't mind.
Well, yeah, when you compare data or subjected to massive amounts of information. So, all right. Were they cops? Okay. Were they really cops? Based on the what they have done to this place, were they really cops?
Is that a question that is in the list right there?
Yeah, what does anything appear out of place? How about that?
Okay. So, yes, they were really cops.
Based on the level of destruction, like he reports that they said to him, break this place up and teach this guy a lesson, right? Was that did they just do it because someone told them to do it, or did they smash the shit out of this place? They above and beyond the Call of Duty.
They smashed the shit out of this place, and they smashed the shit out of Lothar as well.
The people that they took away, the unfaced, right, or unanimous, right, or the police. Which of those two enemies is the biggest threat?
That's that's an interesting question. I would definitely say the police.
Free question. I'm going to try with this. We've got how is blank vulnerable to me? So what I'm thinking is my instincts are to protect, right? And investigation pushing around might bring more crap down on Lothar. So how is Lothar vulnerable to my subsequent actions? How much at risk is he if I take up his cause?
So you have a fourth question?
Yeah, I rolled 3 and I get 1 from pattern recognition.
Okay, you're using the pattern recognition. Okay, it's all good. So you want to know so repeat the question, please. So you want to know?
If I begin to nose around to try and find to help Lothar, does that put him at risk?
No.
Okay. Cool. Done.
So you're still drinking with Lothar. Is there anything else we can do for you, hon?
Well, you can help me clean the place. I don't know, honey. I mean, look at this mess. I mean, I've lost everything. I've lost my business. I need to get my tooth. I need to get my tooth fixed. I need to go to the hospital. Maybe you can call the doctor in, call the fixers for me or something. I don't know. I don't have enough money even to pay for my own good. And he's coughing blood. He's like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah,
what do you
sure.
think you can do for me?
Just wait here, hon. And so I throw him my pack of cigarettes. I take out one more and light it up, and I just call up. I call up the link on the Veil to get to the hospital. I call for a medical personnel to come over, and during that I do like a cred transaction, and throw enough cred there so he'll actually get treated.
All right.
The address is pretty.
The unbroken furniture I'll neatly arrange. The broken furniture I'll pile up by the door to take out for the trash.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's he's trying to walk a little bit. He has difficulty walking when he's go to the fire in the back, and he's just like taking one of the extinguisher there and throw some powder over that thing, and then there's even more smoke in the place, and he's coughing mad, and he's trying to clean up thing while he's swearing in the back of his kitchen, moving things around and just swearing at how life is hard in these parts.
So I look right at Cadmus at this point and said, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Just leave him alone. I've seen him like this before. Well, not exactly like this, but he's just going to walk around and swear a lot.
Up by the serve and protect crowd?
No, I've seen him beat up by his girlfriend once, but not not this bad. But I've seen him. He just needs to walk around and swear and break a few things himself. He'll be all right. Somebody's going to come over and take care of him medically. He'll be all right.
All right.
I think he'll be all right. So who do you think? I mean, do you think we could really do anything about who did this? I feel bad.
Well, he's right. It was the police. So
there's a lot of police.
What do we do about the police?
There's a lot of police. I mean, what are we going to do? I watch you people every single day, and I do my job, and it's such as it is. But I watch the men build a building across or do the construction across from me. I watch Sam at the Bells and his crowd of people. I watch the protests. I watch them beat the police. I watch the police beat them. I don't think anybody can do anything about this. I couldn't do anything about that. I mean, what difference could I possibly make to get involved? I looked around this city, and how much of it I really seen, and there's millions of people here. What could I really do?
Well, who's protesting?
Workers.
And
upset people.
And surely there's more of them than there are police.
There are.
So all you got to do is tell them. Local sandwich maker brutalized by police officers. Pictures at 11.
Huh. I suppose we could do that, but who would really believe it? I mean, stuff like this happens all the time, doesn't it?
Stuff like this happens all the time. What if somebody were to explain and prove the specific and very clear territorial demarcation patterns, right? This territory, gangster police, this territory, anonymous, this territory, workers' unions, that territory. You know, sure, who's going to put it on the nightly news? But you could get the information out there. You could put posters on the wall of McDee's if you wanted to do something.
I don't know. I'd love to help. But do you think that would really make a difference?
Well, you tell me. How does this all make you feel?
It makes me feel sad. I think.
What is sad? It is sad. Sure. But is that all it makes you? Just sad? Passive? Oh, how terrible. Next.
I don't understand, Cadmus. What are you getting at?
This is your friend. This is Lothar. Look at him walking around screaming in the kitchen, right? He's already told you this is everything he has. This is his whole life. This man has dedicated himself to feeding people, and he's an artist at it. And a bunch of thugs in uniform came in here and they've destroyed everything. And maybe he'll recover. Maybe he'll be able to reopen his business. Maybe he won't. Maybe this is the thing that transforms him from small business owner to homeless man to corpse.
Corpse. I should feel something different. I spent most of my life, well, the last month or two, scared, on edge. I think I'm starting
worried
to feel
about yourself.
Worrying about myself.
So are you worried about Lothar, or are you just curious?
That's an interesting question, Cadmus.
I'm going to take the garbage outside and look around. Why don't you help him and make sure that he's ready when the medics arrive?
Huh. Kes looks just kind of confused and walks back into where Cadmus is. How you doing, honey? You put all the fires out yet?
And Lothar is like, oh yeah, you know, they smash up my heater there. They some of my food, and they broke my ice generator, my compressor, and my refrigerator. And so now I cannot even, you know, like I'm going to lose all my fish, all my meat, all my chicken, my turkey. I'm losing all my ice. It's already melt all over the place. And I have this pain in my chest and on my side here. So I think I have more than one rib broken. But yeah, what do you know? I have insurance, but it's going to take a while to pay me back. And I'm already in debt. So I don't know.
What do you think is going to happen to you, though? If
Life's a bitch.
Well, I
And
thought you said your girlfriend was a bitch.
Oh yeah, she's a bitch, but life's a different kind of bitch. You know.
Life's the bitch that rides you to the end.
Well, Cadmus says you could. Cadmus, I'm not sure what I just heard, but Cadmus said you might even be able to become homeless or die if you.
If I what? What do you mean?
If your business has been destroyed, or if you're just not healthy enough, if they beat you up that much, or if the police wreck your business, you won't be able to.
Well, I have insurance for the business. I'm gonna I'm gonna put it on the insurance. I'm gonna say that there's the riot and that they need to pay for vandalism, I guess, and then I'm gonna get better when the I don't know when the doctors are gonna come in and bring me to the hospital and you're gonna fix me up by that, I guess. You said you called him, right? So I don't know. It might gonna take me a few weeks. I'm not sure. What are you concerned by? Honey, what's up? Take a drink. Take a drink. Do you have another smoke for me, by the way?
They're in the pack I threw at you. They're down there. I don't. It looks like you got a little bit of foam on them, but they should be okay. I brush up a couple of the cigarettes. Obviously hit with a fire extinguisher, light up a couple butts. And I'm going to use the Abyss Stairs back move, as I'm really just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I know I'm supposed to feel something. And I rolled an 11.
When you use the Abyss Stair back, do you have to be in a certain state? It's a move. So
right.
So what's your state right now?
I'm feeling sad. So
you're sad. How are you sad? You're sad for him, for what he's doing?
Yeah, I'm sad. I'm sad for him. I'm sad because it just seems wrong. And I'm sad also because it just seems like my emotional response is not exactly right. Like it seems like I'm just not understanding something, and that makes me sad. The whole situation.
All right.
It's making me uncomfortable, And really what I'm trying to do is just trying to understand like what, Yeah, I'm just interacting with this new thing. I don't think Tess has ever really encountered anything that would make her enraged or mad or upset. She's really just trying to understand that.
All right.
So that is my intention for doing that. But
you get a 12?
I got a 12.
So it's all you.
Yeah, well, I will choose an option for the rise move, and I will unlock mad and become pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do not know if I have to spend the other point of humanity or not at that point.
I think so. Spend it 1 for 1.
Yeah. 1 for 1. Okay. And it says, ask any question from my special. I forget what the hell that is.
Where is the special?
The apparatus special. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. You can ask one of those.
Right, exactly. And I'll ask him, Lothar, where he belongs. Like where do you think you fit in with all this, Lothar? Well, this oppression with the police just coming in here and smashing your place up.
When do you think that where do you belong is for your character or for the character that is right there?
It says you ask them. So I feel
you ask them?
sharing a moment.
All
Yeah.
right. All
I
right.
feel like we were sharing a moment of intimacy.
So
And
where do you
so,
want?
Tess Tess just starts to get pissed off during this. Finally, like
So
this anger
he's
just shows up.
he's starting around, and he says to you, well, to be honest with you, nowadays, honey, with his water sink, and he's spitting in a sink and he's spitting a toot. Nowadays, with the police beating the honest, hardworking people from the sprawl like me, and having like people getting their ass kicked, and you don't know who's the good and the bad anymore. Like, honestly, right now, I don't feel like I belong anywhere else than here with my people in the sprawl, trying to do good with running my business correctly and trying to feed off the people in need as much as I can, and that's pretty much how I feel about that. At that moment, after answering that, the people, the medic, the fixers that you called arrived. So the door opened in the front. There's a cold wind that gets inside, like really cold, and a lot of snow whirling, with as these two guys come in. Guys are in bodysuit armor, really flexible. They have a mask, like big cask over the head, and then there's a big. It's white, and a red cross on top, and in the back. And there is this big. It's a screen. The faces is the screen. Is a screen, and there is like like a GPS inside place that flashes in, and then when they reach the destination, it says done, and then the visor open, and they say, "Where's the okay? Circulate, make room for us, and then they open up a bed, like it's out of it takes like two little stick, fix them together, rise them up, open up a laser bed,
Right.
that floats in the air just at the right angle, and they help him on it, clack like that, and then they say, so he says, "Oh, please, honey, leave, close the door for me, close the door when you leave. I'll lock it up, you know where the key is, so lock it up. I'll be back, and just put the key at their same spot as usual. And thanks again for calling them for me. I see you around, and be careful out there. It's a mess nowadays." And then they drag him out of the premises. And now the door is smashing with the wind that fills up the place, and there's snow that starts to accumulate in the stairs that comes in.
So Tess watches her friend being carried out, and she takes another swig out of this glass of cheap rot gut whiskey, which just doesn't get her inebriated like other people enough. And she just takes the glass and just throws it up against the wall. She looks at Cadmus. "I don't know, Cadmus. I don't think hanging posters is really going to do the trick."
Okay.
I don't know about that.
But it can't be just about Lothar.
No, it can't be, but I think I understand. I think I understand that look on your face you get a lot now. I think this is anger, isn't it?
Could be. What'd that glass do to you?
Nothing, but I was never really sure. I've been trying to figure out why I got kind of unceremoniously dumped in that warehouse that I showed up in first. And I don't know, but I have this feeling that whoever created me sent me here to do something, but I don't think it was to turn tricks, and I don't think it was to make other people happy. But throwing that glass, thinking about killing somebody, that felt more right.
I've heard people say that a good lay can change the world, but righting wrongs, I think, is what we're here for.
And for a second, Tess, the look of anger leaves Tess's face and she winks at Cadmus like, "It could change your world, honey."
After you, madam.
Yeah. So I slink out of the bar.
Yeah.
Put the key where it's supposed to be, and close the door behind Cadmus.
All right. So as you guys walk out of this place, you realize that it's getting darker. It's getting darker, and there's a lot of snow now. It's blizzard. It got darker. It got colder. The wind got stronger, and now in the streets there's way less people. The street has been almost cleared up. You can almost hear in the distance, and with all this wind and everything is white, everything is covered with white. The neon signs are seems all blurry because there's snow covering them up, and also snow in front of them, so it creates this really eerie psychedelic effect with the wind swirling around. People are covered in snow. It's a big flaky snow, a big flaky, really like powderish snow that shivers around really easy. Even with the wind, you can hear in the distance to your left, from where you come from the bells and at the corner where you guys usually work, some shouting and chanting of the crowd. But now the streets are pretty much empty, and on your right in the distance you see the blue light, blue red light and there's 2 police drones that are hovering over the streets, probably 2 or 3 blocks away, but you can see them in the snow. You just see the lights, but they're so big you can see them. And there is like a couple lines, 2 lines of police, knocking their shield, walking slowly, and saying like, circulate, there's nothing to see, circulate, go back, leave the premises, go back to your places, there's nothing to see. And then they wait, they repeat again with the same, at the same tempo all the time. And then they walk, and behind them there is this big ass kind of urban tank, that has the sonic boom thing on the top of it for the crowd, and that has like walls, human wall thing that pushes crowds, slowly. So it's just this big thing on the side, and there's police on top of it with sonic gun, kinetic gun on top of it, and it's all black. And you have the apps police, so it's the APD, the
Right.
APHD, and AHPD, Appalachian Heights Police Department. So AHPD coming slowly, just they slowly advance, like slower than by foot, almost. You can be faster than that by foot. And they're on your right, 2-3 blocks away, slowly marching toward that crowd that seemed to have left in the other direction.
You're clearing the streets, Tess.
Yeah, but what for?
Well, it disturbs the people who live upstairs.
That's true. Never really thought about them too much.
Well, that's okay. They don't think about you at all.
I don't know whether to be hopeless or mad around you, Cadmus. You seem to provoke both feelings all at once.
Well, let's say I'm on a limited timeline. So, Tess.
Huh.
What are we going to do?
Well,
I don't know about you, but I'm freezing to death. My long coat's whipping around me. I got my my hat pulled down low over my brow. The snow's starting to pile up on the brim. Somewhere along the way, I lost a glove.
At this moment, Tess, there's an urge and a pulsion inside of you to put your hand in Cadmus' hair in the back of his head and get closer to him to warm him up, and invite him at your place.
Well, you read my mind there, because I tousled his hair for a little second and said, where do you live, honey? You might as well hold up at my place. It's right across the street from where you work.
No funny business.
I look a little disappointed. But no funny business. You don't have much
No
time.
offense.
You can't spend time. You can't spend
No
time
offense, I'm
traveling.
attracted to meat, not appliances.
just gives him quite the look. I think you may have triggered the double mad. And despite that initial impression, she gives him a whack in the chest. A very friendly one, but
Cadmus looks pretty big, but an impact like that against his chest, you realize just how much smaller he is now than he would have been when he bought these clothes.
right. Yeah, so I lead. I'm going to lead Cadmus up to my place. The
All right.
the dirty little hovel that I rent from Sam.
As you guys walk back, now it's a real 20-minute, but the snow has been piling up. So there's enough snow now on the ground to cover, just the top of your shoes. So it's maybe 5 centimeter, maybe 5 or almost 10, but not really. Sometimes, and there's so much wind, it's blizzard. So there's so much wind that there's places where there is none at all. There's places where there's a lot. And it's just that the city it has a weird feeling about it where there's this blizzard. Usually the city is warming with buzzing sound of publicity and stuff that goes in your face and things and songs and lights and things, and now the streets are pretty much empty. All you hear is the sound of the police menacing, constantly like, go back to your premises, leave the street, circulate, and the sometimes on the shield, and the sometimes, and you hear the hovering of the drones, because there is also like some lights, spotlights coming down from the drones, like that create circles, like they're searching people in the streets, and so that is always, that comes to interfere with the field of vision, with flaky snow coming in and twirling. It's hard to talk in this condition because the wind is so strong, and the noise of the police is just annoying, so you just don't want to be there. As you get closer to the Bells, where Tess lives, on the 2nd floor, you see Sam. Outside of it, all the bulletproof windows has been smashed in. So bulletproof windows don't break; they smash in. So they've been smashed in. The door has been torn away, leaving the entrance of the club like just a big hole, like a big mess. Hexagonic entry, because the frame of the door that has been torn away, almost like someone took the door and just took it away. So it's creating this hexagonic figure, really weird figure. Music's playing inside. It's early, but Sam plays music all day in this place. But he's outside and he's talking with 3 cops. So there's 2 big cops. There is a cop car in front with the light on. There's 2 heavy armored policemen. With the helmet and the big gun, assault gun, and some smaller guns on their side. They have like these big boots that are kind of like mechanical. They go to the knee, so they look cyborg, Afro but half human. You don't see their faces, just a big mask, that with a neck that is protected with some kind of a rubberish tissue thing. And there is a higher grade police officer in front of him, human-like. He has some kind of a mohawk that is looks like an aluminum mohawk on top of his head. Some tattoo on the side of his head as well that has been shaved, cut clean. He has a trench coat with some police grade on the side and this big AHPD thing on the front ear. He has a digital holographic tablet in his hand, and he's taking notes with his finger. He's talking with Sam outside. Sam is showing stuff and he's gesticulating. You guys don't hear because it's like 1 block away, but you can see it in the distance. And as you guys get closer, they get inside. They stop talking and they get inside the club, and then you guys arrive in front of the club where Tess live.
Lovely neighborhood.
The places look better. I wonder what the
street. There's been some fighting in the street. Some of the lights of circulation light has been, smashed down on the street. Some of the construction side, one mech has been pushed on the side. So there's a mech that is kind of tilted on the side, and it's like, there is a fire in one of the dumpster, and there's paper and trash all over the place, but starts to be covered with snow.
I'll just double check and make sure none of my coworkers are doing double duty trying to protect the site. And
you see some of your coworker circulating normal as usual, nothing special. There is double effective, but it's been for the last month.
Right. I'm gonna find out what happened. I'm gonna step over. Shift mate of mine, a guy named Ray. He's all right. You can come with me if you want. You're his type.
So that's a link move, if I'm right.
Yeah. Correct, sir.
And the link move,
we need to determine what my relationship is with him.
I know. But do you need a state? Because I realize some move need a state and some seems not to need a state.
I think it always needs a state, does it not?
Yeah, I think so. So how do you feel about introducing us to Ray right now?
Well, honestly, Cadmus would be quite uncomfortable in this condition. So I'm gonna go with He's coming down off of mad, and I'm going to drift over into scared. He's agitated. Like, okay, we're really seriously talking about doing something. Maybe adding fuel to the fire of the rioters, right? Or in some other way, pushing on the organization of Appalachian Heights to cause some change for the benefit of all. And we're awful small people, and it's a very big society, and Tess has no idea, right? He's realizing that on the walk over. Tess it's kind of like an innocent, naive view of what's around her. And if he pushes too hard, she might go and do something crazy and drag him along for the ride. And he might not be able to live out his week. So the idea of introducing her to more people and leaving a trail of evidence and that sort of thing, that would be a little frightening. So scared.
All right.
Yeah. So scared adds 0, and I get an 8.
Oh. So as you approach Ray, that Ray guy, as Ray sees you, he's walking, and he's alone on his corner, and he's on the other side of the street. And as soon as you look at him, he sees you, and he turns around quickly. He turns his head around quickly, just like trying to figure out that you haven't noticed him. And he starts walking in the opposite direction, disappearing in the blizzard and in the dark, into the construction site.
Really?
And and as you do so, sorry, as you do so, you remember. You're like, oh, why are you looking? Why is he looking away? You remember that he owes you an explanation on why he's been off duty for a week.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better.
So what you remember, because he owes an explanation, because Ray actually was off duty and you got to replace him, double shift for the last.
That's why I've been working
week.
double shifts for the last. All right, okay, the memory's coming back to me now. It's hard to keep track of all the details for Cadmus. All right. Suddenly, for no reason at all, in the snow, right? He just says, "That bastard." And picks up his pace and goes into the construction site, forgetting for a minute that Tess is there with him.
So as you know the site pretty well, and he leaves all kind of traces in the snow.
I'll hit him off.
you enter the construction site, and you see him in the distance, and you because the thing is that the construction site is on the corner,
right.
And it's full of plastic vinyls, swirling in the wind, and there's like piles of blocks and piles of aluminum rod on one side, and boxes and tools, big gigantic tools that are just tilted on the side right there, and snow is swirling in, and you hear the steps in the distance going in the
with my cyber ears, I can hear him. With my X-ray eyes, I can see him. Like, where are you going, Ray?
and then you hear in the distance, and you hear like, fuck this, fuck my life, fuck up, and then and he falls, and he's kind of make a double roll on the ground, and as you hear him in the distance, and he's like, oh, my leg, god damn it.
Karma, Ray.
As you turn around, one of the big dumpster there, you find him in the back, in the snow, face down, and he's holding his leg on the side. He got like somehow of a twisted ankle, but he's already starting to get on his 2 feet, and he's
I'll hold up my hand.
He's like, hey, Cadmus, how are you? Oh, wow, hey, thank you very much for helping me. I just slipped on ice. There's ice everywhere. This goddamn weather, right? This goddamn weather. How are you? Oh, I just want to tell you, thank you again for backing me up last week. I mean, what a week. Wow, have you seen all these riots out there? Wow.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about, Ray, before you suddenly needed to come all the way back here to the dumpster.
Oh, what? What is it? What are you talking about?
Well, I noticed the place across the street, right? The Bells. We always talk about going over there, and we never do.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, tonight was the night I was going to go over there.
Yeah, I know, but have you noticed how bad this place look right now? I think there was some. I think the riot has been pretty bad on it today. I just got in for the shift, and I've seen some of the police and talking with that big guy Sam at the door there, and I don't know.
Missed the actual.
I don't know. Do you think it's still open?
Yeah, it's open.
What do you say?
It's open.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Oh, by the way,
it must be cold as hell. It must be cold as hell inside.
This is my friend Tess here. She lives above there. I wanted you to meet so that you might keep an eye out for her.
I know her already. How are you?
Oh, good, honey. How are you doing?
I
And I
see-
put my
I
arm
see
right
her-
around Cadmus.
I've seen her around. I've seen her around.
just
So,
just
so
turned
yeah.
to look Tess in the side of the face, like, I hate you.
I just smile sweetly right back at him.
Yeah, so what a time to be alive, isn't it?
What a time to be alive. So you didn't see any of the actual destruction.
Well, not so much. I think I arrived. I've seen. I've seen the riot. I've seen everything going down. I've seen police beating shit out of people. That's for sure. I've seen all kinds of those anonymous dudes. You know, the one with the mask that everybody's talking about on the news. They're everywhere in the news. I heard that these guys have been bombing banks and bombing stuff on the upper levels too. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. I've heard that they've reached third and fourth level now, and there's almost like a civil war going on there.
You mean where we live?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Up to us, right there. Yeah, it's
I'll
crazy.
tell you what. You watch yourself on the way home, Ray, because the cops are so desperate. They're going into restaurants. They're going into small businesses if they even think that an animus was in there, and they're trashing the place.
What are you talking about?
The cops are taking the violence to anybody who even is seen with an animus.
Holy crap! Oh yeah. Ooh. Well. All right then.
So if you see them on the train, if you see them on the bus, you get off the bus, my friend.
Oh,
because I can't afford to cover you for any more shifts. I might not be around after next week. You know.
Oh yeah. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. I owe you for that. Of course. Hey, well, anyway, you know how it is. I cannot stay and talk with you right there. Like, I need to walk around and do my duty.
I know. They're watching.
Yeah, they're watching all the time, and you know that. And he's like, he's touching his hand, and he's touching his temple, and the eyes go quick, and then he goes. And then he taps you on the shoulder and he say, "Yeah, man, anything, man. You ask anything." And then he goes and he.
During this interaction where I just smile, I listen to this guy. I want to just pay really close attention, and at this moment, I'm feeling kind of powerful. Like maybe I'm starting to understand how Cadmus figures people out, and I just want to probe. So I'm not doing anything active, but I want to use the probe move and see if I feel like this guy is actually telling the truth. And feeling powerful, I have no modifier whatsoever.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I get a 9, so that's a 9. And so I guess I can ask one question.
Yeah.
And the only question is like, are you telling the truth? Because I'm feeling so powerful, I'm going to figure out, is this guy really telling the truth?
So what do you say?
That's really my question. I'm just paying very close attention to this man while he's talking to Cadmus.
Yeah, and you
trying to see if
you ask Ray, "Hey, are you telling the truth?"
I think I'm really just asking. I think I'm just asking you because I'm just.
Oh, okay. Well, you notice you definitely notice that he's hiding something.
So as he leaves, I look at Cadmus. I say, "You know what? I think he's hiding something."
Okay, so that oh man, okay, I'm taking a note. Yeah, go ahead. Let me know what do you think.
Ray, hiding something? You mean after that chase and escape pursuit through the workplace when he couldn't possibly get away, and then oh hey man, how you doing? It's like, I'm so happy to see you.
There you go.
Exactly. I think.
So here we go. Here what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stop the narration right here, and I'm gonna make sure we don't do that mistake again. Here we have a question to ask. There is something to be told. So he said, "Are you telling the truth?" It's obvious that he's hiding something, right? So that should not be the question. The question should be asked differently. Like, what is the truth that he's hiding? Maybe.
Well, I ignored the other questions, which are like, what are you really feeling? What do you intend to do?
because
And I only,
yeah.
but I only
Why
had
is he
one.
lying?
I only had one to. Yeah, I only had one to spend. So I spent it on that, and I'm envisioning as Tess at this point is just starting to figure people out. Like she understands desire, she understands that sort of interaction. But she only had one to spend. If I had two to spend, I would have probably
Well,
tried
okay.
to suss out more.
So okay. So I guess that's what
That's a good point though. I mean, like, don't spend it on things that you can already figure out yourself.
Right.
probably as well. Yeah, I don't know. But if you it's up to you. Maybe why don't you ask another question, because it's kind of a waste of mechanic and narration.
Well, I think in that case it would be like, what are you really feeling?
Hmm.
That would be more the question. Like, what do I really think he's up to?
The dude is a shame. Ray is a shame.
Hmm.
So Cadmus, he's up to something. Something's not. He feels bad about something, or he's trying to hide something.
So Ray
So I'm still going to come back with
is
an
going in a different.
egotistical response.
Ray is a couple meters away. He's already going back outside and walking outside the construction site, and you guys are still inside.
Right.
So I'm gonna tap Tess and say he can still hear us, and wave us off for the conversation. Then when we get to a quieter place where I feel that I can't hear Ray, so Ray can't hear me, I'll put on that egotistical display, like, what? You couldn't. You think he's being dishonest with his? Oh, hey, man. But Cadmus has completely missed that Ray was ashamed. He thinks that he's lazy, or he didn't really bother to look.
Right. I think he's done something. He's ashamed about something. There's something he doesn't feel good about, but I couldn't tell you what it is. You're the detective.
Detect? Where would he be for a week? What would he be doing for a week and come back feeling guilty?
Well,
that's an interesting question.
Not having an affair, because that doesn't take a week. That takes about 7 minutes from what I found out.
Oh, you are good.
Got it right, honey. I pat Cadmus a little bit too low on the back, and but you think he's in the cahoots with the police, do you, or with one of those groups?
He didn't look happy when I told him what the police did, and then he had to get away very quickly.
Well, if he didn't look happy about what the police did, maybe you think he's involved with those anonymous people?
No, I would tend to think that he'd be involved with the police and be shocked and embarrassed that they're taking things to such levels, and realizing what kind of trouble he can get into if he doesn't do exactly what they want. And as he knows that there's a possibility that every conversation I have is recorded, because the same is true for him, you might want to report what I told him.
You don't think he knows that they were planning to go beat up Lothar, do you? You don't think he knows about that kind of stuff?
I don't think that was a decision that was a plan. I think that, based on what Lothar said, I think they decided to do that to teach Lothar a lesson. Don't let these scumbags in your place. Decision made on the spot.
And you think your friend Ray would have been involved with him? Maybe not there beating him up, but involved with the police.
Well, I wonder. Feeding information, maybe. Ray sees a lot. He stands here looking at the world through these eyes.
Maybe you should interrogate him. I'm going to lift the veil and find out where he is right now.
This is exactly what I was afraid of.
But my eyes roll in the back of my head, and I roll a 7. I'm angry, so I'm lifting the veil, so it's a 9.
You're angry. Why are you angry?
I'm angry because I'm starting to put two and two together. I realize this man's ashamed. Cadmus is saying he probably was involved with the police. I'm still kind of reeling from, what's happened to my friend Lothar, and still brand new to this emotion of anger, and just started to get really pissed off again. And watching the police, come down in mass, even though I was mad at the police, I didn't really think it was a great idea to actually start charging the police and demanding retribution. But now there's this one man who seems kind of shady, can't manage to, it seems from a physical standpoint that he certainly would be able to apprehend and bring back to Cadmus for some questioning. And who would notice if he was missing? But mostly I'm just pissed off.
Well, I'm just going to interject as the eyes roll up and there's twitching or something going on. Keep in mind that I was speculating using almost no evidence.
Okay, so you guys are you're still under the construction side.
Right.
And,
right, just off in a corner. And
off in a corner where Ray is walking around, far away in the distance. And you are asking for lifting the veil. For what information you're asking?
I'm going to lift the veil and then interact with whatever avatar Anthony gives me to find out the location of that security guard Ray we were just talking to.
Well, it's not necessary. He's walking around. He's outside. You can follow his track in the snow. He's right there, a couple meters away.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't need to lift the veil.
Yeah. Well, why don't you? I don't know. I think we have a little glitch here, but he was just there a few minutes ago. He walked outside.
Okay.
He's walking around the block, so he's easy.
Yeah, we can't. He's probably obscured from us visually, but we could easily find him. But what if the construction site has kind of a helpful information service for the construction workers and the staff? Like as a veil construct. It's like, you are on the ground floor. Please report.
I was thinking like that. Lifting the veil for that, and I was thinking that, and just looking for him for anybody else that might be located. I'm imagining almost like a little screen with a little beeps of little people around there. I just want to get his location. Anybody else?
All right, no problem. So go ahead. You have.
And I roll a 9, so that is a weak hit.
Yeah. So on a 9, so what you got is you have a GPS view, like a Google map kind of thing,
right?
Of the site. The construction site itself is like a square. It takes a lot, so it's a corner. Behind it, there is a building that was set on fire like a month ago, so it's like an empty field, not really big. It's I would say half of the square that the building that is on construction is. So the north side of the construction site is that. On the left side is a street that go now north south. On the east side is another street go up north south. That's the corner where the preacher do his preaching, and on the south side is the street where the bells is, and that's the view you get of the building. The building is 14-story high, and it's connected to a passageway of the line on top of it. So the top of the building is the line that's passing.
Right.
And that reaches the ground level where you guys are.
Gotcha. And I can figure out from that, like I can see where Ray is in that hole.
No, not at all.
Nothing at all.
No, the veil just gives you that thing.
Right. Yeah, that impression.
Yeah.
So I just say "son of a bitch" to myself, and I go running off in the direction of his tracks. Not saying a word to Cadmus.
You run out. And as you arrive outside, the wind starts blowing again, and then you see the track disappearing on the left, and you see him, you know, in the you know, as a shadow figure,
Right.
you know, because there's a light behind him on the other side of the street, you know, on the corner, on the same side, and on your left, there is this empty field that was where the building was burned a couple of weeks ago.
Right. Well, I
I'm
pour on
gonna
the
take a
speed like
shortcut.
I pour on the speed like a fat kid after an ice cream truck.
He hears some noise behind him, and he sees you, and he starts running, but you're so fast that you get to him in you know, 2 seconds.
And I just grab him tightly, and say, "We want to ask you a couple questions. You don't mind, do you, honey?"
He has a body armor, you know, that makes him a little slousy. He doesn't run fast. He has like this body armor thing, and there is like a, you know, an holographic thing in front of his face under his mask, and he's like, "Oh, wait! I didn't do anything. I'm telling you."
You don't have to tell me. Hey, just talk to Cadmus. He's
And he tries to punch you, like he's just trying to punch you. He's just trying to push you, and he's just using his body armor.
I'm just gonna hold him as tightly as I can, without hurting him.
Which is not so hard. So you realize that how strong you are, and he has this surprised expression on his face. And he tries to throw you to the ground using some kind of auto defense, like self defense technique, where putting his leg behind you and just pushes you over the snow, like that. Which would be can I do a move? Can I do a duel myself? Can I start that? I'm not sure about that. I would like to start that. I would love.
I may have initiated a duel in doing that. Because I think I probably have initiated single combat with another person. I don't think the game master can initiate it. Well, maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you could.
Let's have a duel right there.
All right.
You want to use duel instead of neutralize?
Well, he's not really
duel because Ray wants to kick you on the ground and you know, leave, like run away. He wants to push you away and leave.
So isn't that neutralize? That's why I was asking.
Neutralize. When you use force to attempt to neutralize, take control. Yeah, neutralize. Yeah. So I guess I have to roll for Ray, but I cannot. So what is a GM move I have to do that? I cannot. Choosing a move.
That's a really good question. We're suddenly faced.
Oh, I think I can. It's when to make. You'll know to make a move. There's a pause to protagonist and you golden. A miss is rolled. That's a golden opportunity. Choosing a move.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, I can, but I don't have an emotion. Oh yeah, I think they say that they should have either 0, 0, 0 or -1 or something like that. Yeah, I think I've read something about that. So I'm gonna I'm gonna say 0 everywhere. I'm just gonna admit.
Sure.
I'm just gonna assume 0, and I'm gonna try to neutralize you. So basically, I'm gonna try to use it. He's gonna try to use his self-defense move because he's a guard. He's a security guard. So he's gonna use his self-defense move and his body armor to get over you. So to push you, like to throw you in the construction site. So like behind you, you guys are walking on the street level. I mean, you have to go down into the hole of the construction site. So he's gonna try to throw you in the hole, in the pit, and run away to his car and leave.
All right.
So that's neutralized. And I got a 4. So so 4 on
I think you failed.
Yeah, so what happened?
I don't know that you actually pull any kind of move on a non-player character in this, so it's my guess is he just fails. Like, I mean,
Yeah, but it's supposed to have something that happened. It doesn't. It neutralizes. Funny, it doesn't even tell you.
right.
It
I mean,
does
well,
player
normally,
versus player.
right.
Look, let's keep going with the scene. So you just narrate how you grab him and throw him.
Just
on the
hold
ground.
on.
So as he tries to do a self-defense move, he putting his hand, putting his leg behind you and trying to push you over and throw you in back into the construction site behind you,
Yeah.
below you.
Yeah, even though he has the lower center of gravity, even though it's obvious he's been trained on how to do that, I just push back on him with more force than I should be able to, and just kind of smile, looking him right in the eyes as he's trying all these various things, just remaining kind of immobile, just smiling and holding him, waiting for Katniss to show up.
Now it's like he's all scared and everything, and he's on his ass on the ground, in his body armor in the snow. And then there is a lot of wind because it's the side of the building, and the wind kind of swirled around, and so it's really hard to see everywhere. You can barely see on the other side of the street. It's really like almost like a whiteout, urban whiteout. You see the structure, you see some black and faded structure of the building and the streets around, and some light in the distance. And you don't hear the sound of the police anymore. They pass by earlier in front of the bells, and now they just gone, and it's almost purely silent. Just all you hear is the of Cadmus behind you.
Right. I took a shortcut. I'm not going to run the way that she ran. Is move the shortest possible route to get to where they are.
Cadmus, maybe you should ask him some more questions, and I just pick him up. Should we go to my place? We were going there anyway. I look at Ray. You care for a drink?
Ray's like, hey, I didn't do anything. I just told you guys. What's up with all the fuss? I think we were squared. I owe you. I know I owe you. But
I know you owe me,
just
Ray.
ask, and I will try my best to accommodate you. But hey,
okay. Well, it just occurred.
There's no reason to be violent here. No reason to be violent here. Who's this girl anyway? She can't be human.
Well, Ray, where have you been all week? I just realized I took your shifts to help out, but I don't know what you were doing, and you ran away from me, Ray, and it made me a little suspicious.
Oh man. Well, fuck. Okay, but promise me we square. After that, we square, and also promise me a second thing. I know it's hard. I know it's a lot to ask, but just don't tell the boss. I don't want to lose my job. I have kids at home.
Well, like I told you, Ray, after next week, there'll be a job vacancy anyway. They can't afford to fire you.
Okay, so listen. I told you, like, that I couldn't. I had some emergencies, some family matters, and I couldn't get in, and all of that. But I lied. I lied to you, and I know you know, and I know everybody knows. It's when you don't want to say, when you cannot get in for a week, and you say it's family, people. Anyway, but so and I know it was last minute and all that. And I know. With all double shift and shit like that. But I met this girl. I was at the Belt. Yeah, I actually go to the Belt sometimes after work. And
I don't know you at all, do I, Ray?
Yeah, well. So I go. I met this girl at the Belt, and she. Hey, why don't you give me a sec, guys? I'll be back.
Yep. Must be quite the girl at the bells.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Very, very interesting, right there. The difference between your ability to do something as a game master and how.
No, it's in there. It's just in a weird. It's in a weird section. I found it in the GM moves and player versus player.
Right. Yeah, and I remember looking at that a little bit, but it's a little confusing. Well, not confusing, but just you have to know what you're looking for, which is pretty interesting. Yes, I wonder what that girl's going to say. I wonder how pissed off Ray is going to get Tess. Oh, poor Ray. Poor Ray.
You can also inflict or trade harm.
Right.
That's the other one, which is not what he wanted to do. He didn't want to take it that far. So what do I do?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Oh, as I'm seeing it. Okay, there you go. Exactly. Yes.
All right.
Welcome
so
back.
yeah, I'm sorry. So I was at the Bells, 2 weeks ago, right? And then so I met this girl, and she was so hot, man. I'm telling you, she was hot. She was booming. And then we had a couple drinks. We were getting all hype and shit. And then when the bar closed around 3, she asked me if I wanted to go to this after party. And I'm telling you, man, after party, it's not those after party like 10 years ago, like on the second floor, like none of these guys. This after party was like on the third floor, but in between, it's our level, but in between with the fourth floor, but it's like a loft party, but it's a loft that is like in between. So when you go to the second floor, you're on the fourth floor, and it's like a gigantic tower of loft and stuff, and the shit is nasty. And I heard when I came there, I don't remember exactly, because she was high on these sticks, like they call that the holy sticks, and it's a drug, like it's a psychedelic drug or something. It's like it's everywhere on the street. But it's really hard to get the good one. And she gave me that stuff, and then I took it, and then I read, and then she told me that I could see God, and I could become one, and get unified with all these people, and everybody is sharing the same consciousness inside this party. And I was tripping, man. But the thing is that I tripped for like a week, and I didn't remember exactly what time it is and what time it was, and when I got.
Ray's still tripping.
Yeah. See, when you lie, you just stop like that.
Parking garage, and then I got back to my senses, and I look at my watch, and I was like, oh my God. I'm telling you, I've lost 15 pounds. I've lost 15 pounds, but I remember pretty much everything, man. There was so much stuff going on there, but I want to go back. I need to go back, but I don't know how. So if you can help me get some of this holy sticks. Have you heard about the holy sticks? Can you get me I want to get some, but yeah. But I'm not sure how does that work and everything. But yeah, but don't tell the boss though. So I was just tripping, man, and I had fun with this girl, man, and I met so much cool people there, man. They call themselves the Unified and shit. Really good stuff. Yeah, but anyway, just don't tell the boss. Promise me, just don't tell the boss.
All right, Ray.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I know you're disappointed. I know. I can see it in your face. But what can I do? And he's lifting himself up. He's taking away some of the snow, and said, "Are we square now?" And he's giving you his hand.
Let's shake his hand. Help brush him off.
All right. Thank you, man. You're a nice guy.
And I look at Ray. I said, Ray, you don't remind me of my friend Yorn at all. Oh, there he goes. God damn it, Ray, you're a scared bastard. Right? So I look at him. I look at Ray as he's about to leave. And I say, Ray, you don't remind me of my friend Yorn at all.
What do you say?
You don't remind me of my friend Yorn at all. I don't think I believe you're one of the Unified.
I didn't told you I was one of the Unified. I say I met people. They call themselves Unified. They were dope. They were everywhere at this party. They seemed like cool people. They the one that gave us the holy sticks.
Doesn't sound like Yorn. Doesn't sound like the partier. I don't know. He is strange.
Have a good shift, Ray.
All right, I gotta get back to work, fellas. But don't stay out too late, man. You get some. How do you guys? You get some
Frostbite.
Frostbite. You know what they say? Cold is the new warmth.
Yeah.
Cold is the new warmth.
You know, until today, I thought he was a friend of mine. All right. I'm freezing. I'm going to go home.
Well, your house is too far away. Why don't you sleep at my place? No funny
How do you know
business.
you have a door? Let's check out your
Well,
apartment, see if it's okay.
we'll find out. So once again, I try to lead Cadmus to my rat hole apartment above the bells.
So as you guys approach the bells, you see the cup car is gone, and you still hear some music coming from the club. And it's otherwise the streets are empty, and you can reach your apartment from there.
Right. So
Do you want to
assuming
check
that I
on your
still
landlord first?
Sam, no, he'll be all right. Look at him; he's huge and
Fair enough.
enhanced. So yeah, I lead Cadmus up, the dark, stairway down the dirty, dismal hall. Unlock the door, let him in to, what I've tried to make a nice apartment, but at the end of the day, it is dark. It is somewhat dismal. There's a passable bed. Probably the bed is probably the best feature of the entire apartment. It smells of smoke, as I obviously smoke cigarettes indoors, and I light up a Chesterfield as soon as we walk in there. I pour myself a glass of gin. Drink?
No. Yeah, I'm surprised. I would have expected, red lights.
Good lights.
Oh, it's an old. It's like a signal, place of business.
Honey, I'm a signal.
Fair enough.
I'm sure you
So,
can find some clothes to wear tomorrow too. I do have some men's clothes over here. And then, open a closet, and there is actually a selection of men's clothes, some of which look like they might fit Cadmus.
So, he'll actually take a look at them and then almost subconsciously take a picture of his own face and then go, look out the window, agitated, pacing, like he's wasting time.
Well,
so look, you are obviously incredibly expensive.
I'm not cheap.
If you were designed as a companion, there'd be no benefit to anybody in putting in the extra features like I've seen you display. You're stronger than Ray, and Ray's bigger than me. And, well, you're faster than any human I've ever seen run. So what are you doing here?
I don't know, Cadmus. Oh, you meant not cheap that way. I'm sorry. I misinterpreted what you said.
It's not always about sex.
I don't know. Like I said, I had this feeling that I'm supposed to be doing something else. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel driven to be a prostitute, but it doesn't seem like it's the only thing I'm supposed to be doing.
Prostitutes are the most visible part of the low end of society, and the one part you can guarantee that no one will admit to knowing or remember seeing. They're both visible and invisible at the same time.
That is true. So do you think that I meant to be somehow unnoticed?
It's a great way to make money, look after yourself, encourage meeting lots of interesting people in interesting places.
That is true. I have felt like I should be entertaining higher society clients. I would have to move, though.
Well, there's an issue there. If I could see what you are, the security on higher levels, they're going to see what you are too. Last time I checked, artificial humans weren't the most legal thing.
No, that's true. I'm surprised I didn't realize I was that obvious.
I don't know how high up, but if I can see you, then some elevator somewhere surely can.
I wonder if there's a way to mask that.
Not my department.
Hmm. Well, who would know? What do you think I'm doing here, Cadmus? You're the detective.
Well, you woke up, you say, suddenly. I don't know the story there. I just heard you say that today. You woke up somewhere. I think you said a warehouse.
Yeah, warehouse outside of town, a few kilometers outside of town.
Okay.
I do remember something about a fire before that, and people yelling. But I don't know if that was from where I was created or someplace else, but it doesn't connect with my other memory at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had to get someplace closer to the city. I came here. I met Yorn, who was a very nice man, who, despite everything I've done, will not sleep with me, but seems to be a rather intriguing man. I like him. I like him. And then he introduced me to Sam. I got this apartment, and it seemed like it would be an obvious thing for me to begin to solicit and watch.
All right. So, base level overt programming, behavioral programming. Just out of curiosity, let's say you're in a fine restaurant. There is a soup bowl. There's like 8 forks and just as many knives, 4 or 5 glasses. Which ones do you use first?
A soup bowl. There's no spoon. Did you forget to put that in?
Nope.
I'm not sure. Is this a trick question?
No. And if I say it's black tie,
Black tie. A fancy get together.
if I pull out this gun, can you get to me before I cock it?
Yes.
It's interesting what you're certain about.
I could kill you before you stop me.
Well, these days I think a strong wind could do that. But I know what you mean.
Yes, I know what you mean. Do you think you'll be all right?
Do I think I'll be all right?
Do you
You
think
heard
the
the
doctors
doctor.
were lying?
No.
But do you think that's really true?
He'll
Does
take
that
out
make
the
you?
he'll take out his phone again. Right? Just slide his hand across it so the pictures of all these different faces scroll. Right?
Those are those men that are all gone.
Yeah. I'm next. I'm some of them.
You did change when we left. When we left the market. Is that what you mean? Were those all you?
At this moment, there is a light coming from one of the police drones. And you know these lights that circles around, really whitish, and it comes into the front window of the apartment, flashing the face of Cadmus in front of you. And you notice that Cadmus' hair are now blonde, and that one of his eyes is blue, and the other one is getting bluish.
And I just kind of look and stare and don't talk.
been lucky so far. My fingerprints have stayed the same, so going to work every day hasn't been any problem. You know, plastic surgery is cheap and easy. But I'm not the man I was. I can't even remember which ones of these I am.
Why do you think that's happening?
Well, you heard the doctor. I'm sick. But nobody knows why. Nobody knows how.
And I'm here, but nobody knows why. Nobody knows how.
So, it's nice to meet you, Tess.
It's nice to meet you, Cadmus. What should we do now?
I don't know if you need sleep, but I've been up for over a day now.
I like to sleep. I'm not sure if I'll do it tonight. But
And Cadmus is already asleep in a chair by the window.
and Tess will just sit down in a chair, light up another cigarette, put her feet up, pour herself another drink, and she'll just watch Cadmus to see if he changes again.
And as you look at Cadmus sleeping in silence in front of you, the snow is blowing at the window. And sometimes you hear in the window, but not so much. And you see the light of the drone pass by in the room, slowly flashing over Cadmus' appearance in front of you. Cadmus is slowly getting blonder, and his hair is getting curlier, almost like a blonde afro on his head, lifting up slowly. His eyes are getting bluish. His nose, who used to be pointy and skinny, is now getting more like a flat boxer nose that has been punched in. His ears are getting a little bit more like that instead of close-knit. His head. And a gut start to appear. Just a small little beer belly, nothing too crazy, which he used to be skinny. Now he's getting a little bit more bigger here. That seems to be happening really fast, but at the same time, the sun starts to arise on the horizon, and time has passed real fast without you even noticing it. And but the blizzard's still running as the light starts to show slowly outside, and until the automatic lighting of the building close because there's enough natural light outside. And I will end the session here for tonight.
Cool.
All right. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Now let's go over the belief and the XP. So let's start with Cadmus.
All right. None of my beliefs got me into trouble. Although they were all in play. And he never stops looking for others like himself. Although, like I said, today he was pretty much at the end of his rope. You know, we started the narration in the last session with him working a 16-hour shift, then getting off, and then he still hasn't crashed since. Good people help others. Was definitely strongly in play, and he doesn't let Tess have a moment of thinking she's a real person.
Yeah,
but none of these things were challenged or put in a situation where they need to change or got him into any specific trouble.
All right, so there must be other like me, especially if the disease is the result of exposure. That's still one of your beliefs.
Yeah. Since he discovered his own, that the medical technician was certain he had a week or so left to live, the urgency to find others so he can get more data is more in his mind.
Yeah.
So,
but nothing really pushed you toward that. Nothing. Did you think you did something to go in that direction yourself?
no, what I was seeing was we had to deal with Lothar, so we did humanely, and then walk Tess home. The whole place is destroyed. Discover Ray is being curious. Find out about that, and but still, there's this. This is still the same day, right? How far can he push himself? This sick guy pushed himself. So in his mind, it's well tomorrow. As soon as I wake up tomorrow, I start.
All right. For every now, you have one is I wanna do good. I wanna help or something like that. You wrote in
Yep.
on Messenger. Now you
Today
have
that's Tess and Lothar. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did that twice. You helped Lothar and you helped Tess. You say.
Yep. And he's willing.
When did you help Tess exactly?
She doesn't need his help, but like instead of just saying, "Okay, well, good night, Tess," and leaving her at the restaurant, he walked her home, and he's constantly concerned about her questions about emotion.
Yeah, that's right. That I see. So that would be 1 XP or 2 XP, a challenge. But when I believe it's challenge,
I think it's just if it gets you into trouble. If a belief is tested, mark 1. If a belief gets you into trouble, mark 2. And if it's changed, mark 3.
Got you into trouble? Not really. There was no trouble in this.
There was no trouble.
No, no trouble at all. So 1 XP, 1 XP for that one. And then 1 XP for the helping people as well. So 1 XP for helping, no XP for their other like me. And the last one was, for every action, there is a direction. Is that so?
Too much of life is a comforting illusion.
Now, how this one is really abstract. So how did that happen?
I rephrased this for you as dispel delusion.
Okay.
So Ray thinks he can lie to me and he can just snow me and I'll do what he wants. Well, that's not exactly true. And Tess is masquerading as a human, but she's not. And Tess thinks that all the people out there will sleep with her and that's normal human interaction, and it's not. And,
okay, so Ray, the thing though is that Tess proved that Ray was lying, kind of thing. I don't think Cadmus did something about that though. Cadmus
knew he was lying. That was enough. But.
Yeah, you think okay? So just the fact that knowing it, but knowing is not dispelling to him. You didn't say okay, you're lying. You didn't confront him.
Right.
But you did for Tess by mentioning to her that there's more to be human than just to sleep with people or something like that. So that would be 1 XP for that. Is that so?
I think so.
All right. Now for Tess.
Yeah, we got these 3.
I cannot solve the issues of the world. Is that the first one?
Well, yes, that I don't believe that an individual can have a meaningful impact on the problems facing society, and so therefore I don't see any reason to interfere in the larger events around me, even if there's great injustice.
So is that how that didn't put you into trouble? That's for sure.
It didn't get me into trouble.
It didn't. You didn't solve it. Do you think unless you want to solve it, unless you want to say I'm done with that, I did it, and I want to change my belief now, I think that I can do something.
I think I wasn't sure where this was going to go, this session, but I think it definitely at least got tested.
When
as she's looking at what's going on with the police, what's going on with I think she's just trying to figure out like what's going on, if she has a reason to get involved. I don't think she knows whether she can really make a big difference.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that has been happening in the game. I cannot solve the issues of the world. So there was a lot of different kind of thing. There was like the bells that has been broke down. The fact that the police seems to be corrupted somehow. I don't know how to express that. So these are some of the issues of the world. Now you know that this guy is sick.
At the beginning, with Lothar, right? Tess seemed curious about him, and then she discovered anger as a result of him. Is she not challenging the idea that one person is powerless against the crap in the world?
You see, yeah, that's interesting. Well, to me, I don't know. I don't care if you want to get the XP or not. To me, it's just I want to figure out how are we right now in turn of learning the game. Are we right now trying to push in by interpreting what happened in the game to make a belief fit where it actually never happened? Because I don't really see how that happened.
Well, I mean, the way I originally wrote the belief, it was long, but the belief is, I do not believe that I or any individual can have a meaningful impact on the problems facing society at large. Therefore, I don't see any reason to interfere in the larger events around me, even if there's great injustice. That was the whole belief. It was a long one.
But you did interfere with Ray,
right?
But with the other one, you did not. So to me, it's I don't see anything really particular about that belief happened. Yeah, you know, like personally, I don't. I just want to make sure. I just want to understand where we go. Like, because if we really want, we can write anything we want and make it fit everywhere. If we really want to push the interpretation, we can.
No, it's good. You have to challenge the pitch.
Obviously, of course. So I just want to make sure we understand each other on that, because it's easy to fall into that habit of let's over interpret it. Like, let's make it fit everywhere, right? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one. Let's go over the other one just to make sure. So get Cadmus to help me figuring out my nature. Let's go for this one. It's this one is a pragmatic one. It should be easier to interpret.
Right.
What do you guys think? Cadmus. Did you manage to get Cadmus to help you figuring out your nature?
Well, I managed to have him at least talk to me and try. I don't know if I've completely solved or resolved this belief, but I think I at least tested it or interacted with it.
Of course, like this session is basically, the way I see it, is a long dialogue between you and Cadmus about finding about you, who you are, like, and also Cadmus opening up to you about his disease, right? And then talking about feelings that over in different places with all this mess around you. It's really weird. Like the feeling I see this session is just these big, heavy, intimate conversation in smashed up weird places, you know. And this is just like the world is collapsing around you everywhere, and you guys are talking about feelings and anyway. So yeah, of course,
life as a goth.
This shit. Like,
hey, listen, I'm 1 month old. What do you want? You know, the kids are curious.
So exactly. So so I would agree about that. Get Cadmus, but so you guys, like, I mean, and Cadmus was really interested. So in that sense, Cadmus, you know, there's another belief that from his side that fits with this one. So I don't know. It's I would say you can decide if you want to you want to say I'm done, or you get 3 XP. Or you say I get 1 because we actually definitely talk about it and got it further. Now you get also you got yourself a new emotion,
right?
But it's not from Cadmus,
right?
But yeah. Anyway,
no, I mean, I'd rather. I mean, I think. I mean, like, I'd like to continue to role play that, but I don't know if I need to have that as a belief I'm going to challenge all the time or whatever.
All the belief needs to be challenged all the time.
Right. So I mean, I think that one's kind of. I'm probably done with that one. I mean, as far as being the.
But you can keep going, because if you keep going, it's a +1 every session, you know, and it's a good story still, because it's part of your story. It's up to you.
I mean, yeah, no, that's fine. I can keep it. I keep it there. I mean, it's definitely interesting for now.
Yeah, and you see this one. If you look at it, I don't see how that one will get you into trouble though. So it's easy to see this one as a good +1. but eventually getting a +3. The way it's formulated right now is to get Cadmus to help you.
Right.
Cadmus seems to do it, seems to be down with it. So you can get a +3 right now and change the question to change the flavor of the game. For next session, it's up to you. You get to decide that. But yeah, so okay,
Yeah.
so
I imagine I kind of get rid of it. I mean, I'd still role play it. I mean, that's the whole point. I think of still having those. I can't say that we wouldn't have those conversations. The way I understood it was that like you still can interact with those ideas. They just don't gain you any XP anymore. You have actual beliefs that are XP generators on the table, so to speak.
Yeah. The other one is what is considering my illegal nature, I must have been created for a purpose which is helping humanity.
Right. And I was just going to observe and interact with people to see if they're deserving of my service or if I should focus my efforts elsewhere.
Yeah. So now, how that happened in that game?
I think at the least I've like continued to observe people and try to figure out like, are they really as a whole worth it? You know, so far Tess has not been really thrilled with what she's seen of humanity. There's people that interest her, that she likes or finds engaging, but like the vast majority of humanity does not seem terribly interesting. They seem confusing to her.
Now, how that happened in the narration and in the play, in a way that we can decide if it puts you in trouble, give you a +1, or it was good for a +3. +3.
Well, that's a good question. Any feedback is welcome.
Yeah, and I know that's exactly what I mean when the belief is too abstract. It's really hard. That's why I'm saying like really good pragmatic belief is easier after session to pinpoint like that happened right there, that happened right there. So I don't know, man. I mean, here it's, you know, the way, because we cannot, I don't think that we can look at the belief the way this game proposed it. I don't think we can look at them as reflecting back on the session like, this is what my character now have in mind. It has to be something that we can verify throughout the narration. And I don't know, that's the way I understand it. If you guys understand it as something that we can interpret afterward and distribute XP, I mean, I don't care. If you want to do it that way, we can do it that way. But I think it opens the door to anything goes. So it's up to you.
Well, when I read them the first time, as I didn't read the improvement mechanic first. I read that you need 3 beliefs, and through our discussion, we kind of decided that there'd be one that was something immediate that's on your mind, one that's more of who you are, I would say, and one relating to a view of the world.
It's one toward another PC, one as a goal, pragmatic goal. I want to accomplish this session, and one as a worldview.
Right. So that's what I did. Things that Cadmus does, something that Cadmus is doing now, and then tied directly to another other PC. I just made one that was tied to pretty much anybody he meets. So it's informing me what to do to be him. Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes circumstances will allow that, and sometimes they won't.
Yeah, and it helps the GM to put you in situation as the game goes to trigger that. So I see both of you have stuff like helping others. So you have the Beelzebub that has been smashed down. You have Ray that seems to have like a secret that we don't know, and then you have Lothar that got his ass kicked. So this is an opportunity for you to trigger these beliefs, and then you have. You know, for me, the way I see it, the way as a GM, I challenge those beliefs is that, hey, the police is corrupt now. So humanity, is it worth it? Is it worth it to be, no. And so but the thing is that if the belief were more pragmatic, it would be easier for me to challenge stuff like concrete stuff. But since it's always abstract like that, it's really hard for you to sometimes when you are in the narration, for you to see it, this is so abstract, it's so philosophical, or so like.
Well, I'm gonna challenge that for today. This one. So we have Lothar who's been hurt, right? So there are two. How is helping Lothar envisioned, right? We patch him up, we clean up his place, we threw out all the just shattered furniture, we put it all back together, paid for his medical treatment, and made sure if we started to do something to push back against the police, we could do that without involving Lothar, so that he wouldn't get further trouble because people that he knows were standing up for him. So we did an awful lot to help Lothar, and it wasn't abstract at all. It was very direct, but it wasn't go somewhere, do something stuff.
Yeah.
And then with Ray has this secret. Can we trust people kind of stuff. While we're looking at the destroyed bells, right? We know that Sam is very bombastic. He's a larger than life character. He doesn't always tell the truth. He's kind of a manipulator. He's a showman, right? And he's talking with the cops. So we could help Sam more by learning more about the situation. So we go to talk to Ray, but Ray's got his own secret. And I wanted to let that one go because I know he's lying, and right now that's enough information, right? I know he's done something that isn't immediately relevant to this particular scene, helping Sam or understanding what happened to the bells. And like, was that place all broken up because someone was there looking for Tess? Was it broken up because the cops are smashing all the businesses in all the areas, right? I want to know about that. And so we found some information, and then we go back to the bells. And at that point, I think both Ivan and I are thinking about the fiction. And it's like, okay, when this game started, right, this is a continuous line, right? We've now been playing for hours and hours of trooping through the snow, right? Going places, getting involved in things. And Cadmus, who's the normal human who's very busy dying, wasting away is how he's described, right? Has been up for more than a day now. So to be true to the fiction, he has to go to sleep. And he doesn't want to. He's been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and the world is just shit everywhere he goes. So he needs someone to tell him, look, you can't do it all today, right? So Tess keeps dragging him back to this, come on, we just got to go to the apartment. Don't go home, just go here. And he finally gets there. It seems safe. He realizes that she is like a tank, a combat machine. And for the first time, he feels safe. He sits down in a chair and he falls asleep.
It's romantic.
This is a cool place to end the session.
Oh yeah, perfect timing for that. Yeah, of course. So anyway,
but it meant that he didn't get a chance to find people today, but he'll find people tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm good. Yeah, go ahead.
My thoughts on like just interfacing with the beliefs is, and maybe this part of this is just to kind of, well, never mind. I won't go down that road. I'm saying, like as like that whole belief I had where I didn't believe that individual, like I could have a meaningful impact. And so that therefore I didn't think I should have to, I could do anything or like would do anything. I don't see any reason to interfere. I think at the end of the day, Tess did interfere. Like she did interfere at least in terms of like helping patch Lothar up a little bit and then doing things like in an investigative level. But this, a lot of that belief, just hold that belief in your head for a second. But then the whole part where she's where she's trying to interact and observe humanity to see whether they're deserving of service or if she should focus her efforts elsewhere. Most of my interaction with that belief was in my head. Like as she's interacting with everything that's going on and she's observing, in the internal experience of the character, she's going, you know what, I don't think this, maybe they're really not worth it. And I think, she's becoming more and more cognizant that perhaps she's has some other maybe darker purpose for her creation. But we talk about it a little bit, in the character dialogue and like, my interactions with the world. but I would really have to stop everything and say, at this point, Tess feels like humanity isn't worth it anymore, which is kind of what was going on in my head.
Yeah.
But I would have to actually stop and, like, out of character say, and now I feel this way. I'm not doing a move, but I feel disgusted with humanity.
Mm-hmm. I think
maybe I should have done that.
Of course. I think that we should go back and read the belief part and all that. But I do think that if it's in your head as a player and as a character, and if it's not narratively exposed or not narratively expressed and utilized and tested, it's really hard for us to understand when it's abstract like that. So I think that the idea of these beliefs is that they need to be part of narration to exist. If they are in your head and we don't know about it, do they exist in the RPG ecosystem, in the experience, the shared experience? That's a good question, right? It's a really good question. Personally, I never, I'm new to this way of utilizing belief. It's similar to Burning Wheel, but it's not exactly the same. But to me, a good milestone is that they need to be expressed. Otherwise they don't exist. But it's a classic conundrum as well.
I think it'd be fair to say. I think it'd be fair to say that all three of my beliefs got tested. I don't know about.
Well, I personally, I'll be honest. As a player, I don't think so. I don't, and as a player, I really don't think so. But I really don't care though. So if you want to have your 1 XP for the belief and you think they have been tested, perfect. Personally, I don't think so, because I don't remember. I don't see how but it's me, and I just want to make sure we don't fall into the trap of anything goes with the belief, because otherwise it's not worth it to write them down. They need to be possible for them not to happen, because otherwise anything goes. We can interpret everything and make it fit everywhere. That's for sure. We are smart enough to do that, for sure.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm pretty good with everything. So, Anthony, I want to tell you something that I told while you're there. The MC scenario sheet.
Yeah.
The MC scenario sheet. I will at the end of this session. So before next one, I will start to fill it up, and I will give it to Ivan, because Ivan is next.
Ivan's next.
Yeah, I will give it to him, and he will have my version, and he will be able to modify it as we play, and it give it to you as well, and then you will have your version that you can utilize till the end. So the idea of the final question and the end goal and the antagonist and the organizations and their motives and all that, and the threat 1 and threat 2. Yeah. Well, now the same thing. Like, do we want to make it if you want me? Do we want to make it public as a group? Because I think the book says that we should, or we can, but we don't have to. We can keep it secret if you guys want to keep that secret. Because he just exposed what he thinks is the antagonist right now.
So I'm busting your balls is what I'm doing. I remember W and Pavlov. I'm like thinking,
So what do you guys think? What do you get? Do you want me to share with you what I have on it, or you want me to keep it secret and we all keep it secret till the end?
I'll have to double check the rules, and I think there's a certain part where it's supposed to be a little bit secret, or the MC reveals it, but I have to double check. It's been a while since I've read
because
that
the final question, the steps, because there's steps to reach the final question and the end goal should be written. From that session after last one, like the first one is supposed to be an introductory session, and then the second one builds from there. So that's what I was doing, following the rule as written. So.
Right. But we interacted with the second session as an opportunity to go to new locations and role play. So, I mean, we could have easily said something like, well, we help patch Larthar up, we get a couple hours sleep, and then the next day, I mean,
that
could have happened. It didn't, which suggests two things. We like role playing as those characters, and we didn't actually have confidence in what to do next.
Exactly. And this is why I strongly recommend you to write a precise, pragmatic goal. Like,
there's nothing more precise than find other people like you
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, but you
It doesn't
didn't.
involve tests, though, which means
Yeah.
choosing to separate. So
Yeah, right.
we had to establish a reason to help each other out. So this became the relationship building episode.
Yeah,
or something
definitely.
like that.
And I think you guys made a great deal of of a great deal of distance. You know, talking a lot in Lothar's place, talking a lot in Tess' apartment afterward, and also some in between conversation were really deep into like, how do you feel right now? Well, I think I see what you have on your face as expression and all that. So I think that you guys like for next session. I don't know. It's up to you guys, but I think that you can wake up next session and make a step forward, like Tess knowing a little bit more like about her. Like obviously she's not just a prostitute. It seems no, and maybe she's never been, and she's just the first reaction she had was that because she met Sam as one of the first person, and he just hooked her up right away as a pimp, right? And she was like a little naive, and then actually she's never been. It's just the first thing.
Her last assignment was the cover as a prostitute, and that just little fragment of programming is hanging in there.
Yes, something like that. And then you, Cadmus seemed really secretive. Now he's opening up the pictures and opening up his art as well.
Right.
So maybe next session can be just starting from there, and also it's a good opportunity to start with a plan. I don't know about you guys, but you guys can start with a plan, having a belief like about I want to do this. Like we want like you suggest to take pictures and do propaganda. You wanted to start some propaganda thing.
Right.
And then Tess said, I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. So I don't know.
So what's on the back of my mind is actually making a raid on.
Are you serious?
On the medical organization, the guys who are doing the charity work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The guys that
we actually spoke to, whoever is sponsoring them, Cadmus is thinking very, very seriously that the only way I'm going to find out more about this disease is if I find out what they teach the doctors about this disease and find out where that information comes from. And he's, now that there's a ticking clock, taking those risks and getting that information out there is worth it.
Right.
All right. So that could be one of your belief next session. Like, right. I want to go there and do well. You actually maybe you have one right now. It's find other like me.
Yeah.
But that can be changed to something that can give you +3 if you write it as by making a raid on them, XYZ, find other like me or find whatever.
Or find more about the disease. And
there you go. And that you can accomplish next session, and that can give you +3, right?
I can use the move, it takes one to know one, maybe to help find a research facility or something where there's a suspicious number of dying people.
and remember, now that we are off the record, right? There is
where's worse?
No, I know we are live. I know we are live, but we're off the record of the game.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't want to inject stuff, but it's so fun to talk about the game like that. There is like a pod, at the place. There is a pod with vehicles. You guys can like from there like reach so many places. I mean, I can see so many things.
Yeah.
Some good action sequences.
Well, I suppose at this point too. I mean, Tess's goal, would be more like, well, I don't think I want to help everybody, but I'll help Cadmus. I like Cadmus.
So that is a good way for you to get a +3 today. Like if you say, for example, humanity is not worth it.
Right.
Now I know humanity is not worth it, but Cadmus, my friend, is worth my help. And then boom, now you get yourself a +3. You erase the first one that you were confused about, and now you are clear about humanity is not worth it, but Cadmus is because he's dying.
Right.
The nice part about having a friend like Cadmus is you don't have to help him for very long.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's not a big commitment.
Wow. No, but I'm just trying to I don't know, verbalize the game for myself. Like, I feel sometimes like the with the belief is, as if you are ready to be radical with them, it produces more gamist aspect. Now it's the gamist part of me that express myself. It's just, look, you get the +3 right now, erase that, admit that it's done, move forward, and the narrative goes, instead of staying like, because sometimes in RPG, I've noticed PCs are, maybe I would go there, and maybe probably my character thinks about that, and probably will do this. Why don't you just do it? And that's it, But sometimes it's a little bit like we are scared to admit, or we are scared to take position sometimes in the narrative. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but that produced the ambiguity. And believe
some people are afraid to change the character. Like, they like the character the way it is. If they go off and do that grand quest, the character has to change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What if I don't like the new version?
But this game rewards you, gives you +3, right? You're done with this view of yourself. Now admit that you want to go forward, and it's just, I don't know. This is the way I see it. At the same time, I mean, I'm not in the character shoe yet. I'm in the MC position. When I'm gonna be in the character position, I might gonna be like, fuck. I might gonna be a little bit more like that, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's my last session. Are we good for in 2 weeks, guys?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think you should be.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks are gonna stick it to the man. That seems to be Cadmus's plan.
Fight the power, baby.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna raid these guys. But
power to the people and to the artificial.
But at the same time, you have a good reason, Cadmus, because they kicked you out. They made fun of you, because I've listened to last session and they were not nice about it. So they made fun of you. They kicked you out, and the only person that gave you some satisfying like info about your situation is there. So I mean, everything is there. On the other end, just one before we go, and we are there. Do you guys have any suggestion about things? Like, one thing you guys mentioned to me, I'm talking about my emceeing abilities. You said give us more time to dialogue. Last session you told me that, because sometimes I was pushing with stuff in between. Now I let you talk. So was it too much of letting you talk, or was it okay?
How did you feel? Did you get tired of listening to us blather on about our feelings?
Oh no, that was perfect. Because the time you talk makes me think. I need time under.
No, I think it was reasonable. I mean, like, it was fine. Like, when you stopped us right in the middle of the conversation in the restaurant before. That was appropriate. At the end of the night, or when we're standing around, in a warehouse at after hours, it doesn't make as much sense to have something blow up. But No, yeah. that was cool. That was cool to have more of those moments where I got more of a handle of, like, the idea that Tess probably has this programming where she can interact with people on the street, but then she gets confused, and then she has to start, but she really has no people she can really trust. So she's kind of found some people that she trusts for some reason.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I see, because the way I've listened to you, you got yourself into. I see that you have a better sense of your character, because I was listening to you at one point, and the way you ask questions is really robotic. Like, you're like, because there was a really good moment. Okay, I'm gonna get back to that moment. You said, if I ask you a question like, imagine a place where there's a bowl of soup and black ties, and you're like, fancy what? I'm not sure. Like, do you think you can kill me right now? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something like that. You know what I'm saying? That dialogue was great. It's like, can you tell me something about this and that? And Tess is all fuzzy and not sure. And then, do you think you can reach me before I grab my weapon? Yes. That was quick. That was like, boom, I know I can do that. Do you think you can kill me? Yes. Boom. So
Well, it's asking me like, what fork should I eat my soup with, and it's like this just doesn't make any damn sense at all. You know, I know if I'm dressed like a hooker, and like some guy walks by me, I say, "Hey, baby," and smile, and you know, that's a response. But like, what knife do I eat the soup with? Black tie? Are you kidding me? Kidding me?
Yeah, man, that was really good scene. I was okay now, because that is interesting because it's really rare. I think well, to me, it's rare that you get this level of dialogue in an RPG session. It's easy because you guys are two. There's only two people, so you can reach. But it's a deep conversation. It's Cadmus trying to make Tess realize that she's not human. She's programmed for something.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? So how does he do that? He's just asking the good questions. So Tess is like, yeah, I can answer that easy. And that doesn't make sense to me. So I must be produced to do that. Mm-hmm. So now, considering the fact that we have 7 sessions to go, well, if session 2, you start to know that you are probably more, you're not just a prostitute, or you're maybe not prostitute at all. Well, that's interesting where it's going to go.
Because after her friend Cadmus kicks the bucket.
And if you guys get really close like that, intimate like that, well, when he's going to die, what's going to happen to Tess? Man, there's so many good things up ahead. Like if we can do it right, like if the climax and anti-climax thing happened correctly, that's going to be interesting.
The cyberpunk a version of Romeo and Juliet. It's great.
well, yeah,
it's fantastic.
To me, I see the A Walk to Remember cyberpunk version.
Oh, there you go. Oh my god!
Dude, what I've been thinking is that I've been signed up to do this multi-book, like 6 or 8 book treatment, and the character I'm playing is Ned Stark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
So things are just getting good, and I'm gone.
Well, you're the reason why everything gets so good, actually. So that's another way to see it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So I realized
the best doctor ever. It's usually the grim news is you only have 6 months, or this like you got a week. What? A week? 7 days. It's like The Ring. 7 days, pal.
Yeah, but that's interesting because that's what it created. That narrative choice was for me to put all the MCs and the player under pressure. Like, if we play real time, we have to play real time. So how do we deal about that? Because every time we say, okay, so we get a good night of sleep, then we do this and that, and tomorrow night we do this. Now, oh boy, this guy is getting closer to death. So it's like, let's walk every minute.
Better role play. You got to better role play the shit out of Wednesday.
Yeah, like we're gonna have to role play every goddamn minute of that for real. And for Anthony, it's an interesting experience because everything is urgent. Like there's no waste of time. Like we can feel it. It's like, yo, we need to do something. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
I really liked the urgency created by going to McDee's in the first in the first episode. It's like, fine, we'll go eat something, but it's going to take 30 minutes to get there. Or I can save 3 minutes. Fine, I'll save the 3 minutes. But
exactly.
But this session had me thinking, would I like Cadmus if I met him? There's twice now where I felt compelled, like trying to put myself in the head of the character who is always going to speak truth and speak bluntly about it to cause some kind of impact, right? He's called Tess an appliance twice.
Oh, yeah.
To her face. And, but then is polite about everything else and is really starting to feel an attachment to her. Like he feels empathy and sympathy for this character. And when we closed out the scenes before he falls asleep, they recognize that in many ways they are very, very similar. So I'm very curious what effect that's going to have on him as we go forward, and would I like somebody that speaks that way, and does he really like Tess, or is this an expression of self concern or self sympathy, right? Pity for himself. Now I'm kind of curious to see what the truth actually is after we play.
That's some interesting question, and you see right now, because the whole idea of this game for us is to play existential question of utilizing cyberpunk as a genre to question the idea of humanity and existence, and self, what it is to be human and stuff like that, in a genre that kind of emulates 21st century, a little bit, with virtual reality, cyberspace and stuff like that, and it's artificial intelligence and robotics and all that, and the genre question, and I see things coming up. And in one of your dialogue, when she was asking a question about herself, you ask the same level of existential question as Cadmus, but Cadmus is because he's completely human. And the only reason why he's asking that is because he's on the clock.
Right.
He's gonna die. But she's just born. It's the opposite. She's just born and she doesn't know. So he tries to find a sense of, like, a reason for all this that happens to his life, because he's gonna die. So he needs some sense to make sense of it all. And she's just trying to figure out what she is, because she's just born. So they come from two opposite directions on that spectrum of question. So it's really, really interesting to see that in action, because they're not the same. So we have in between you guys, in this relationship, the whole idea of the question we ask about why we play this game, the reason why we play this game. And now I had an idea concerning the antagonist and the final question. And I think I know what the final question is going to be when I'm going to give the sheet to Ivan. And now, as much as I don't want to prep, as much as I advocate, how much I don't want to prep, I think that if I don't want to miss what I'm trying to do, I'm going to elaborate some kind of structure. I need something. I need a situation to happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I need something that's going to reinforce that. So a trigger, just a trigger.
Right.
I think I'm going to sit down and organize a trigger because I'm going to leave the sheet to Ivan. So I want to build some, it's almost like my agency as a player doing the MC wants to keep going through Ivan. So I need to trigger something strong enough that Ivan's going to have to work on it. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Totally.
Well, let me tell you.
You can see that in our All for One campaign.
Ivan is like,
let me tell you what happens with that. You come up with this great concept, and then the next guy turns your villainess into like a common prostitute, or just see a woman that you can one of Brisker's conquests. And then somebody else has to completely do. It takes a lot of effort to get that to come back.
It takes the whole idea you had into like a fool's errand that gets solved in the first minute as a false news.
It's like, what the hell did you do to my non-player character? Oh my god!
It was just a dream. It was just a dream. You guys wake up. It was just a dream. Now let's get this party started.
Yeah. Or just look at him. You're like, oh my god, they're the bad guy. They're not the bad guy.
Oh man,
it can be kind of funny. So,
wow, that would be so good. But I'm just being honest. Like, I'm trying to figure out how I can make myself, like the people who has this this kind of ideal of immortality. So they want to do something that will stay after their death, kind of thing. So it's almost like that, but in the game version. So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna try to introduce something strong enough that it's gonna follow till the end somehow. Yeah, but I don't know how. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that up. But it's going to take, I'm going to tell you, I know already, it's going to take the form of a chainsaw arm. That was just a joke.
Of course it will.
Probably
Tess is brushing her teeth and the chainsaw whips out.
Just flying in the air, probably like a big gigantic chainsaw arm, like drone thing flowing over the city thing. I'm kidding. Anyway, but yeah. It's a good. I'm not sure about the game though. Considering the state, I had. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna have to look back at the rule because today I had so many questions. Like for example, the move, like Anthony's move, Cadmus move of he takes in one to no one.
Right.
Do we have to do a state with these moves?
I think we have to with that one.
Yeah,
because that's solely based on his ability to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
The link move. I mean, everything else uses a state, so why wouldn't it? And
yeah,
you know,
and also trying to start the duel as the GM because on the GM quick reference sheet, you know, they talk about.
It's in the direct rules, though. You can find it.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna take a look. I don't remember. Do you guys remember?
I mean, we found it when you stepped away from the camera.
Right.
But it's kind of.
I mean, it's mostly player versus player, but there's some stuff, yeah.
Well, in that section of the GM moves, when it's talking about player versus player.
Right.
Okay, so that's me. Anyway, I'm gonna have to take a good look at that because I don't remember these rules, and I just take a look at something.
You see the list of MC basic moves says inflict harm or trade it. Mm-hmm. In there, it starts talking about it. And how things mutate and eventually become neutralize, and what is expected of you when it's natural for a non-player character to push a violent agenda. So
wow. So you have good memory, man. You have good memory. Did you read that recently, or you just remember?
2 hours ago, maybe.
Oh, okay. So you were reading these things just before the game?
Like no, just when you stepped off screen. For a few minutes, I used that time to just to look it up because it will be easier for me to remember with this distinct event as a hook.
Also, as a GM, it's written here that I can always activate a player's negative tag. So this is something I haven't done yet. So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have these on hand next session, just to make sure I can change the pace a little bit. So I've been pretty soft on you guys actually because I don't, there's no much action, harm, and dealt yet, so it's been pretty relaxed. It's interesting. It seems that like these games, depending on how you play it, the Powered by the Apocalypse, at least this one is a slow, takes time to build. We play 2 hour session. Because for some reason we want time to extrapolate, and talk about it afterwards. So it makes a 3 hour thing. But do you guys think we should take more time? Like, do you guys prefer, like for me next session, because I did some natural ending. It takes it at 2 hours today.
Yeah, that was a natural ending. You couldn't end it at a better spot. I don't know. So I mean.
Yeah, so maybe next session we can take time to extrapolate a little bit more, and since we are used to talk about the belief afterward, and we know how to do that now, we should take more time to actually play next session. Maybe an hour, 1 more hour is a long time.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think?
I'm okay with it.
We should play it by ear.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Like we might find a natural ending point and want to go for it, and that's cool. And we might not find it, and then continuing to a point of resolution is totally fine.
Okay, I see. All right.
And of course, Cadmus would want to play 24 hours a day, but he's not real, so it's too bad.
It's true.
And are you guys happy with where everything going right now with this game?
Yeah, I like having a question about my character, and I like there being a real relationship between the player characters rather than there not being anything in the fiction to tie them together. Like these two characters together because they're two players want to play. That doesn't always happen, and it doesn't feel like a one shot. It feels like there's something to go for.
Yeah, to go for, to build upon. Yeah.
and just as a player, I like when we run into problems and none of us care that there is a problem, and we don't mind looking it up to find out what the right answer is. We all have that attitude. There's no sense of embarrassment or oh crap, I'm wasting time, so the freedom to experiment with the game is nice. Because I'm not sure when I would have been very active with Powered by the Apocalypse games if I had to do it by myself.
Yeah. Me, I really like the fact that you guys are really relaxed about it. I mean, I put you in situations and I have no idea what's gonna happen. I cannot even. So I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm saying, I'm not saying in my head. I'm saying what you guys gonna do, because you're so relaxed. Like Tess doesn't care much about anything. She's a little bit off, and Cadmus is a little like, he has one thing in his head. He wants he's gonna die. So it's just like I said, like I put Sam in front of you with the club smashing and the cops, and you didn't care less. I mean, you didn't. You could have been. You could have done like 100 of different things. I had no idea, what would happen with that.
Well, that's an important tip. We should probably. I mean, not probably. We have to share more. Ivan and I are used to. I think the character's life is private.
Right.
We describe what the character does and says, and that's it. And if someone wants to, figure out what you're thinking, they actually have to ask, and maybe you're acting a little bit with your face. That's we've got years of doing that, but we're obligated here to put our character actions in context, right? It's not enough to say I look sad. It's I look sad because chain of thought, right?
Yeah.
Right. What am I consciously thinking? What am I subconsciously thinking? What's the background that's informing this? What do I look like when it happens? And what am I actually doing? That's what we're obligated to do in this game to make it work.
Yeah,
definitely. And we're not doing that very consistently. So.
Well, it's an habit. I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to condition yourself. So that's why I'm always saying, like, why are you? What is the state? Okay, so why are you like that? And sometimes it feels obvious, when I ask Anthony, like, how are you right now? I'm still mad. God damn it. This place is smashed in. What do you think? And I'm like, yeah, of course, but I don't know. So how do you? So I understand. And it's not. I think it's the only game. It's the first game I've seen that asks you to do that as much. So it's kind of sometimes it's kind of it's I don't know. It's an habit. I guess we will get used to it. It's not easy. I remember one perfect moment Ivan did toward the end, where you just said, I am powerful right now and I'm doing this and blah, blah, blah. It was so smooth. I was like, roll the dice. I hadn't, it was clear. So I guess it's a state of mind, right?
Yeah, it takes some practice, or remembering to say all that kind of stuff.
It's a technique, right? It's a method.
Yep, it's a method.
I would say starting by the state, then the move, then the roll.
Yeah. Hey, it was a coin flip at one point during that scene. That I feel powerful and disgusted with this man. I break his neck, but I decided that probably wouldn't fit this tone right now. but I toyed with the idea. I said, yeah, that's fine.
Killing his coworkers.
Yeah, but Tess seems to me more like a child than a killer.
Yeah,
but she can turn into a killer. I feel she's gonna turn into a killer like anytime soon for some reason.
Well, it depends on what her contingencies are. Who knows what she's really supposed to be doing?
Yeah, you're right. She has the contingency thing going on.
Oh, only the game master knows at any given time.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, because it's contingency driven. I mean, the player doesn't. I mean,
yeah.
The way I wrote that negative tag, it's the player doesn't activate that contingency. Like you activated it a couple times, just having me act in a real inappropriate manner with Cadmus.
Yeah, but there you go.
It could very well just be contingency driven in terms of violence. What if I'm supposed to assassinate the president? I mean, that's And then literally, like the wrong person walks by, and like she just goes
Sarah
bananas and tries to
Connor.
kill somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
There's a thing though. Now,
That's interesting. I left that open.
concerning that, are you still comfortable with me dropping on you this pulsion thing, right? Because
Oh yeah, that's why I put it in there. I said that's a great
okay.
a great negative tag. That's some great, you know.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm gonna bring it down like that. Like you have a strong pulsion of blah blah blah, and then you decide if you want to do it or not. And this can be your thing. On the other hand, there was a moment, and I want to ask you guys what you think. It's the idea where when Cadmus Anthony did an analyze in the Lothar's restaurant, and then he got like 12, so he had like 4 questions. It seemed to me that these 4 questions were so counterintuitive, like a little bit out of place narratively. So mechanically, it was perfect. You know, you ask the question, I give you the answer, and it creates this.
But how does he get the information?
Yeah, we didn't have any idea on how these information came in.
I took that just as shorthand, not to waste time.
Yeah.
But
so for me, like, I don't care. I don't mind playing that way. I think it's efficient. I think it's mechanically it made sense. But I was wondering, how could we do the same in a more narratively interesting manner? Like looking around, thinking about the cops, thinking about what Lothar said. Does it make sense that XYZ? And I go, yes. And then I don't know. Maybe it could have been like, because it seemed like Cadmus' thoughts process, right? Because it was like Cadmus' thoughts process by looking at the room. So narrating, I'm wondering, maybe what you guys think if the character, the PC or the player narrates in his head what he analyzes, and then I answer the question he's asking.
Well, that's actually what my experience of it was, right? You know, Cadmus is a security officer in this neighborhood, so he has lists of police officer names, and he's looking around. Are these broken chairs, or are they smashed to pieces? Did someone rip the top of a table and beat it until the actual table broke? I mean, is there ferocity and frenzy here, or is it just, okay, boss, we'll break a few glasses and tip over a few chairs, kind of stuff? So, these cops are now doing this stuff in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
How active are these police officers? Do they actually trace down every lead? If I start using Lothar's place as an example, does it put him at risk, or that kind of stuff? So that was the thought process I was actually going through, but I didn't want to use up a lot of our 2 hours in that way. But that is actually what I'm imagining at the time, which is part of a different habit of playing a different way.
Yeah, I think both ways are legitimate, and I personally I don't mind. But maybe it's the nature of the. Go ahead, Ivan.
I was gonna say, on a tangent though, some of those questions, like the list of questions for various moves, when you get to ask 1 or 2 or 3, sometimes depending on the situation, I was looking at that list and I forget, at that moment I'm thinking, well, gosh, that's not the question I would have asked. Maybe it was with the time when I was trying to discern, what's going on with Ray. But I would have asked a related question, like a question in that vein of thought, but I wasn't sure if that was really appropriate or acceptable within the rules. Like sometimes that list of questions suggests other questions that would be very related to that, not in a way you could get more information out or cheat, but it's just like, well, hey, what's another question in that line of thought? If I'm analyzing something or trying to determine somebody's motive, what's a real specific question I would ask, or a related question? And I felt like almost compelled, like, gosh, there's got to be, you ought to be able to ask another question that's kind of in that same.
You should be able to change the questions a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too, looking at them sometimes.
So
just sometimes, and I did. They didn't quite fit, so I changed them a little bit. But the other side of this is that we do have questions about the actual mechanic. And so to then take the time to to fully describe the scene and then also take the time to walk step by step through the mechanic is a luxury of time that perhaps we don't have. That's something we'll get there by the time we get, into sessions, 6, 7, 8, somewhere. We'll be comfortable with all of these different mechanics, and we can just use the time to describe rather than say, okay, my state is this, that's +1. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
the awkwardness of it will disappear.
I do still think that we are pretty good with it. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I have a good feel of what's going on. I have some great representations in my head, and I see the relationship building. I see the web of connection, the NPCs. I see a story. I start to see a story. I see things going on. Like, so it's good. It's only 2 sessions in.
Right on. Well, it is about 1:30, so I should probably.
Yep. So thank you.
Those
Thank you
other
very
people.
much. Thank you very much, and I see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm gonna post a date or something.
Cool.
Right on. Right on.
Thanks.
All right, later.
Talk to you soon.
We'll stick it to the man soon. What fun we'll have. The end.